back. We're back, baby. It's hot on the East Coast. Happy 4th of July to all of you in the grand country of the United States. I know not everyone
That's right.
loves us, but this is our day where we get to eat hot dogs and hamburgers and look at the fireworks, those
4th.
beautiful twinkling images in the sky. What's up, guys? Happy 4th.
So, happy 4th to everyone. I'm rocking the Dream Team. Joe knows the Dream Team Barcelona one, the Lacoste, because the French helped us. Let's have it right in the war, in the Revolutionary War.
Oh, I didn't realize that. How important your shirt was.
Yeah, no, it's there's a significant reason why I'm wearing this combination.
Right on.
I wish I had my Thomas Jefferson outfit though. Even though he's a controversial figure now these days for what he did in his personal life, but let's move past that.
Let's neither here nor there for the sake of this conversation.
Yeah, correct.
The man enjoyed.
Okay, no, I think you cut it off at the right point.
Let's move on.
So
it might tie a little bit into our conversation, right?
It does.
Oh my god!
It will. He had a preference. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So when you guys go to your cookouts and barbecue, what's on your plate, Chris and Joe? What's your ideal 4th of July plate?
I mean, dude, ideal. You go first, Joseph.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't do.
So,
any
Joe,
of that
your
stuff.
diet now these days is going to be a boring 4th of July plate, I imagine.
Yeah,
right?
I would imagine as well.
White rice and grilled chicken.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. That's always been my thing.
It's going to be a plate of white things. So it's going to be right.
Yeah.
Bland potato.
I do like hot dogs though. I'm partial
you
to
get down
those.
with the swine. Okay, I'm surprised.
No,
that.
beef.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna eat pork.
Yeah, the Hebrew
what's
nationals,
what's
baby.
with black people not eating pork? Explain this to me.
I have no idea. It's just something about pork I'm not really all that enamored with.
So you don't like pulled pork or pork chops or anything like that?
And I think at least for me, I think it's too fatty.
Oh well, for your diet, yeah. But did you eat pork as a kid?
As a kid, yeah, like bacon. That was the only thing I ate, and now it's all turkey bacon. But yeah,
man. But I get it. I get
what
it.
a disgrace turkey bacon is.
I get it.
It's crispier.
Yeah, it doesn't taste as good. You gotta admit that.
But I'm not down. I'm down with turkey, man. I'll do like the ground turkey instead of ground beef. It's good stuff.
I like ground turkey. I like the bird itself. But turkey bacon, no way.
So what else? Give me something. So I know you're kind of tight on your diet these days. You're also trying to cultivate mass, as they say.
That's
but
right.
will you have a cheat? Will there be something on your plate today that's like, usually I won't eat this, but today I got to do it?
No
like special dessert your mom's gonna make?
Nope.
What?
It's not really a big thing. At least in my household, and I know especially since 2020, I haven't really done anything. Well, I don't really hold Independence Day in a high regard because of all of the fireworks. It's just fucking annoying.
Oh, Joseph.
Yeah, I know.
You're becoming an old man before
I am
an
old man.
Goodness
I am
gracious.
an old man.
He hears the fireworks. He's like, damn those kids.
Yeah.
But 2020 and 2021 was the worst.
Yeah, keeping you up all night.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So on my plate.
Yeah.
If I could control it, like if it was me, let's say doing the 4th of July, and I'm not like a huge 4th of July, but usually I'm doing something with family. This year I'm going to my cousin who married into a Greek family. And this is the first time I've gone over there for 4th of July. So I'm kind of curious to see what's on the menu. Maybe some lamb, obviously probably hamburgers.
I'm jealous, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that'd be cool. If it was me, I think, chicken is going to be, grilled chicken is going to be on the menu probably. Hot dogs and hamburgers, because that's just what people expect.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some like ribs, like pork ribs with some barbecue sauce. Come on now. And then usually just like the standard, I would say like picnic side.
The corn, mashed
potato
potatoes,
salad, macaroni salad, and then maybe
yeah.
someone will bring some like, I don't know, something random that you're like, ooh, that's going to be good. And then I'm definitely going to have some desserts, man. It's 4th of July. I'm going to eat some desserts.
Yeah, this is the day I'll go crazy. Yeah.
It's a little cheat day.
Yeah.
What about you? So, okay, you're going to do it at your aunt's Puerto Rican family.
We're going to go upstairs.
What-
and then the backyard.
Little pernil.
No. Today is more American. So we're going to do hot dogs, hamburger, but then we're gonna do barbecue chicken. That's a good call out by you, but like not
Oh,
wings, not
no, the
wings,
thighs,
like
man.
like the thighs and the breasts.
That's the best
We
pieces.
all love the breasts. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it ties into our conversation
which
today.
we'll
So
get
there you
into,
go.
which we'll get into
my
later.
God.
Yeah, for real
The
talk.
best part of these episodes is watching Joe just like
Cringe.
exactly. Cringe that he's
Squirming in a seat.
He's reluctantly here. He's doing us a favor. And we amuse him sometimes, but also there's many cringe elements for him. And that's the part that I enjoy the most. Watching you just your face tighten like you've just eaten a Sour Patch Kid.
Yeah, but that's part of the allure. I like that.
joy.
I like the reactions.
All
Yeah,
right, so what else? Anything like random?
So traditional Puerto Rico, like you said,
Little
like,
lasagna.
There'll be some lasagna.
No.
Dude,
and
what
then
is with
people
Puerto
will
Ricans and lasagna? I don't get it.
I didn't know that was a
we
thing.
actually love Italian food.
Yes. Any
Big
Puerto
time.
Rican I've ever known for a
Yeah.
holiday, it'll be like turkey, ham, pernil, and lasagna. There will be like a baked ziti, a lasagna, like some pasta dish will be on the menu, and then rice and beans and all that stuff.
There'll be rice in the gandule, the peas you like, the little guys.
I like that, man.
Those are good.
I get that on that.
And then like the salads, like you said, the pasta. I think the macaroni salad with the vegetables in it, and probably some type of a big salad. Like
now, will you make something? Will you contribute something to this spread? Because I know you're a man in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'll contribute. I think my job is two things: to make that big garden salad, like to help with the roughage, to help you digest all that heavy food, and the laughs. And I'll bring some beer too.
There you go.
That's my contribution.
Nice.
Sounds like
and the jokes and the laughs. Yeah.
Teleported to like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think ours. Yeah, but not really with the hamburgers and hot dogs, but it's basically like a Thanksgiving, and
I mean,
we'll
that's
be
why I
outside.
like 4th of July. 4th of July and Thanksgiving I enjoy because it's like there's no presents, there's no other like aspect to it. It's like we've talked about in other episodes. It's just like we're gonna eat a lot of food. We're gonna be outside because it's nice out usually. Have a couple drinks, spend time with family, friends, and it's like, yeah. The fireworks I could care less about. That's like my least favorite part of 4th of July.
Who's
just
that?
Like,
sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead.
Who's that composer, Joe? John Philip Sousa. That does when the Macy's do their fireworks. So Chris in New York,
no idea.
There's a famous composer where on the Hudson. Is it on the East River now this year? They moved it. Yeah, they moved it to the East River.
I'm surprised they keep going back and forth, but whatever.
Yeah. So during the Macy's fireworks,
people complain every year, and they just like give them a reprieve. Probably, okay, we'll do it next year. We'll do it over there. And then back
they play that famous song while the fireworks are going off. And what's crazy is from my old place in Parkchester, I could see the Macy's fireworks parade show. Or not parade, fireworks show, excuse me. Yeah. I could see it from my window. It was
ladies and gentlemen, I mean, if you're celebrating the 4th of July, enjoy. On the East Coast, it is a balmy, high 80-degree weather.
It'll be nice when the sun sets, though.
Yeah, get a little sweat on you.
Yeah.
Have a drink or two. It'll kind of make it all the soupiness okay. If you're an AC person, enjoy your AC, but have a hot dog, a hamburger. And if you like fireworks, enjoy the fireworks. And if you're like Joe, think about him as you enjoy the fireworks. As he's cringing quietly in his room while he watches some eclectic indie film.
Or he's trying to listen to some shitty electro dance band.
Daft Punk.
Yeah. They're not shitty though. Come on.
No, very good.
They're good.
All right, before we get into the meat, I wanted to kick it to Avery because this is a happy day, but there also is a sad moment. So we're going to give him a moment to kind of remember someone that we all knew at one point and worked with.
Yeah, we all worked with him. Richie, bless up. He passed away. Condolences to the family and his child. Theodore is his name. Passed away at a way too young of an age of cancer. And the news started breaking throughout this week. And I just want to say I'll never forget him. He's always in our hearts. He was a good man. I loved hanging out with him because we were friends. We weren't just colleagues. I think the three of us, especially Joe and I think we hung
I
out
think
more
you
with
too,
him.
yeah.
Yeah. We didn't just work with him. He was our friend outside of work as well. And it's really sad. It's a really sad moment. So I want to acknowledge him and his family. And I wish nothing but the best for him. And it was sad. It was among other things that happened this week, with people passing away tragically. That was the one that hit the most for me. So, but the other ones I'll talk about later tonight, which is sports related. But Richie, bless up, man. And I'm sorry if I'm getting emotional, man. That really hit me. And
it's time to be of all times to be emotional. It's time to be emotional.
Yeah, the good thing. I would not good thing, but the silver lining about something like this happening is you start reconnecting with people that all knew him, and you just pick up where you left off, and the conversation starts again. So, rest well, man. I'll see you on the other side. Well, we all will, because I don't want to get into the universal aspect of it, but we're all eternal. He's not gone, and he'll never be forgotten either. So, Richie, rest well, man. All right. Now let's get to the fun stuff. So, speaking of what we were alluding to earlier and joking around a bit, today we're going to be talking about like what's the current state of the modern dating scene in America now in 2025. So I want to start with the first part of it, which is the most obvious, I think, online dating and our personal experiences with it. Joe, I don't think you've ever done it.
Nope. Do not plan. Well, I'm not
well,
gonna say
you're
that.
you're
I don't
you're
plan on them, but that's not my MO.
Yeah, you're a purist, and I respect the shit out of that. I've dipped my toe in the water, and so has Chris. So what do you guys make of just the overall like general landscape of how dating has transitioned from just going out and meeting someone in public, whether it be a concert, a bar, a restaurant, a party, like a house party, whatever, publicly, like face-to-face communication, where you actually have to approach someone, in terms of just clicking buttons and writing messages in an app.
Joe, I give you a lot of props because I know so do you not have any social media at all right now?
I only use Reddit. That's it.
Do you actually have an account on Reddit, or do you just...
No, I have an account on Reddit.
Okay. Interesting. I respect you more. Yeah. You've even gone up higher.
Reddit
not
is
many
cool.
people use Reddit. I like Reddit. Okay, cool. Yeah, and you've never done any type of online dating?
No. I can't say that I haven't thought about it, but it's not something that I actively want to pursue.
Okay, but I don't think anyone does. But the fact that like you stuck to your guns and just was like, I'm not going to do this. Mm-hmm. That's impressive. I know you're an old man, but still, you're not that old, right? Because it's pretty much like online dating's been around. How long do you think? I mean, it's been around for probably longer than
forever. Yeah,
over 20 years.
Yeah, since the internet became a thing, probably like 1999, 2000. Yeah, I can't imagine.
Okay, so for someone who as you said, you've wrestled, like you've kind of like gone back and forth, but you never like sealed the deal. What would you say, like in that wrestling, was the pro and the con? Like something was kind of like, maybe I should do it. So what could have led you to do it, and then what kind of just was the linchpin in saying, nah, I'm not going to do this, at least as of now?
Let's say, from my perspective, is really more just poking and prodding from friends to just jump in.
I think I know those friends.
Yes, you do. You guys definitely do. But yeah, the pros really more just cutting through the fat, so to speak. Really, just you can really get to know the person that you're interacting with a lot more when you're just kind of conversing online, messaging each other. It's just not this. It's definitely a dance between the people that are involved, but it's not as I would say convoluted if you're gonna be doing it in like a bar environment or like meeting up to friends. You more cut to the chase when you're going online, and
Interesting.
at least that's from what I
Yeah. So your perspective.
yes. The cons really more. I think there is a lot more of a fun factor when you are in person seeing each other. The thing I really like about not like kind of pursuing someone and it's not online is really more the thrill of the chase. You, it's there online, but it's just not the same.
You're a lion. He's a
only,
cheetah, a
only
jaguar,
you could
a
make that
black panther.
comparison.
Go ahead, keep going.
But yeah, that the thrill of to me, the thrill of the chase is just something that's kind of unmatched when you do it in person as opposed to online. There's like a level of excitement that you
You can't
I
duplicate that
you
online.
can't, and to me I kind of live for that sometimes. But yeah, I'm curious to see what your guys take on this would be.
I'll go last. Avery, what do you got? Because I feel like Avery
Um,
probably is like he's definitely dipped his toe in.
yeah, it's like you said, it's fun. The word I would use is convenience,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's basically like speed dating on your couch. That's what you're doing. So you don't have to go out, you don't have to spend money, you don't have to take a shower and get dressed. You could just sit on your couch and like flirt with women. Basically, that's what let's call a spade, right? And if you're a good writer like me, it can be fun because I like words. I like the conversation. But Joe is absolutely bang on it when he says that you can't. There's no way you can replicate that as to the like approaching someone in person, because then you get the body language. Then they can detect your sarcasm,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're being funny, you can't. That's really hard to translate over like a DM chat. Extremely hard, even in 2025 when you can use like emojis and stuff like that. But no, it's never the same as just going up straight. And I don't know about you too, but to me, oh, sorry, there's the legend, there's Link, there's the Legend of Zelda. Uh, there's nothing like mixing it up at the bar, even if you don't leave with someone or a phone number or anything like that. Just that you could feel the energy. That's for me. That's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just with dating. It's with anything. It's just with hanging out with your friends. It's the same thing. So it's unrivaled. It'll never match that. But however, it taps into like the convenience part of the person psychologically, where I can I could be laying down in bed and I can just be trying to meet all these women and booking all these dates and stuff, which I did for a little bit. It worked. I mean, well, it's probably because there's people that have told me, um, I've never seen anyone message like you, because I never use emojis and I never use contractions ever. So they're not used to my type of like prose. So that definitely makes me stand out in that world.
That's
But
funny.
I definitely operate better at the bar. You know what I'm saying? Easily.
Yeah. I mean, well, again, I think there's no way. Well, a couple things. One, I mean, I think most of the online. I think this is also an age thing. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
the next
definitely
generation
is.
on like all of the online dating companies are like losing money.
Yeah.
They're like gonna like within the next generation they won't exist anymore, or they'll have to pivot to something very different. Like I think Bumble, for example, I don't think it's ever been profitable. So like I think it had its day probably with our generation, maybe the next generation, right? We're millennials. Are we classified as
Yes.
millennial?
Yeah, we are.
So what's the next one? X? Not
Gen
X.
Z.
Gen Z.
Gen
And then
Z is
what's
the
what
Gen Z is
how
the younger group, and then the older group before us is Gen X.
okay, and then who would be like who's
Gen Alpha.
18 now?
Gen Alpha.
Okay, so Gen Z is like how old?
like
like
nine,
late 20s.
19,
Yeah,
20 to like
yeah.
maybe 25, 26,
Okay.
27.
Yeah, so like I think our generation was the online dating generation. Maybe it dipped into the next like this Gen Z, but like they're already they want more of like in person. And it's interesting. I talked to a friend of ours who I'm not going to name right now. But like there's even a movement towards kind of bridging the gap where like speed dating is coming back like in the world. And it's like there's a couple businesses in New York where it's like you sign up and it's very like organic. It'll be like, okay, we have 12 people, you're going to meet at it's all done via like an app, like you're going to meet at this location, and you just show up at that location, and then like you have the picture of the person that you're going to go like approach, and they know
Interesting.
you, that like they have your picture, you have their picture, but you're going to like go find them at the bar, talk to them, and then you'll get a notification pretty much saying, okay, like time's up now, go look for this person. So it's kind of like bridging it's kind of creating like boundaries, so it's like a safe environment, like you kind of know who you're going to talk to. If you're a girl, you know who to expect.
Hmm.
You kind of have a sense that like someone, you are going to talk to people for the next 2 hours. um, but it's in the real world, like you're going to meet them for the first time in the real world, you're going to exchange your first lines, your first conversation in the real world, in a place where there's also other people just having drinks with their friends and stuff, so it's like more organic. So I think we were like the guinea pig, and I think it was a failed experiment at large. Like I do know people who've gotten married and they met
Yeah.
via
So have
online
I.
dating.
Yeah.
I know people who've been in long-term relationships that met via online dating. But if I like looked at the numbers, it's probably not the majority.
I kind of think COVID was the impetus to actually switch away from online stuff. I think people got so annoyed with being inside that once everything opened back up
It's a
again, they
good
just
point.
wanted to actually
Yeah.
get back out and interact with each other. So
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
I think that was a big part.
And I think like the whole AI thing, which not to
Yeah.
make that part of our conversation, but I do think like I've always said this, like if you had the money, invest in public spaces, because I think they're going to become a premium. Like I don't think they're going to go away. I think as I think we're going to see them increase more, where there's more of a hunger for like live entertainment, live interaction, real world experiences, just like we've talked about with like sporting events.
Yeah.
Like
Ticket prices.
they're so astronomical. Like that used to be like you could go see a baseball game with a family of five, and it was like just like going to the movies. Maybe
Hmm.
a little bit more, but it wasn't like gonna kill your wallet. You wouldn't have to save up for it for like 6 months. And I think that's only going to increase. So I think the dating is kind of true. Like there's a hunger, just like you said, Joe, of like, all right, I'm at work, I'm working remote, I'm on the computer all day, I watch TV, I watch Netflix. Like there's like that human hunger to like, I need to connect.
Yeah.
So like that's why
I
I
agree.
mean, yeah, I think the whole online dating thing, if we had this conversation 4 years ago, it would have been like, oh man, this is not good. I think now it's like it's already been identified it doesn't work, and now it's a matter of like, okay, we're going back to the old school way of things, like meeting people in the real world, having friends introduce you, speed dating, signing up for like intramural sports or a club or whatever. So I
Yeah.
kind of think it's a positive. I think like we're transitioning out of this phase.
I don't think it's going to be transition out, but I think there's a lot more alternatives, like you mentioned.
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we are trans. I mean, if the next generation doesn't use online dating, well, the other older generations die. So
Yeah. The
eventually,
business
like
model is
the
finished.
the newer generation is going to determine like if something is going to work or not, because theoretically, by our age, you've already found your person through whatever means, and you're not
Hmm.
using that service anymore. And then it's like the next batch of like 18 to I don't know 30-year olds. But yeah, I mean, I've used online dating. I've had good interactions. I've had bad interactions. I do see like there is utility if you were just a straight, like if you're a woman and you're just sort of like straight Machiavellian, like I'm going to try to find the best mate possible for whatever my rubric is, and I'm not going to pass judgment. Money, stature, good looks, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
It's like applying for jobs. You could do a lot of work very easily and never leave your home, right? You could just, because if you're a girl, I think we've had this conversation many times.
Mhm.
Like, if you're a girl online dating, like for men, it's always the challenge will be getting people to respond to you,
Mm-hmm.
which is true in any. That's the nature of men and women in any
But it's
environment,
definitely
right?
heightened online for men.
Correct. Online, women get inundated. So if you're like an attractive woman and you're like, I want the best case scenario, you can literally be shopping across the country because you'll probably get messages from people from across the country. You might get messages from rich people across the world. Um, and you could just be like a straight sociopath and like, all right, that guy's going to fly me to Dubai. All right, let's do that. Right. You know what I mean? Like I have met girls who've gotten like requests to go to other countries where someone will pay to transfer them there.
Yeah.
That they would have never come into contact without
without the
online dating
application.
or really
Yeah.
Instagram, because in a sense, there's people using Instagram the same
for this
exact
for
way.
the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also
Yeah,
safer.
no.
It's also a safer experience for them too. Like
Yeah.
they can
100%.
go online and kind of sift through the companions that they might want to meet instead of doing that in person, where sometimes it can be a little bit of a murky situation trying to go through.
It could be dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
let's call it what it is. If you're
Yeah.
like a dater, I mean, I do think this whole dating culture is relatively modern. Like, your your grandparents didn't like. This is like a product of like the 60s and the 70s. I
Mhm.
think like how we date, go to the bar and meet a stranger. Like that's modern. That's like within the like our parents' generation.
Mhm.
Like they invented that.
Mm-hmm.
Before it didn't exist. So that danger element is also kind of modern. Like your grandparents would have been, or maybe your grandparents would, but your great grandparents be like, "What are you doing? Why are you went home with this stranger? Are you out of your freaking mind?" So I mean, that's also part of it, right? Like it's kind of like I don't know, if the history of humanity, we've kind of entered a very weird way where like human beings kind of like try to meet each other. And it is dangerous. Like online dating makes perfect sense. It is probably much safer in a way. You can vet someone. I could take their picture. I could do Google face search, literally try to find them if I wanted to. Like you have all these tools.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah, like you could take a picture and you can go to Google and upload the picture and it'll search for that
Did
like
not know
that
this.
picture.
Yeah, you can basically like do a background check on someone and vet them online. Yeah.
Which is interesting. I'll pose this question. Like, what
Oh,
do you
boy.
think about the idea that there is a prejudice against people who don't have a social media presence?
Yeah.
Mm.
I understand it. I do. You know, I get it. I get it.
I like that actually. I like. Good. Go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. You haven't spoken in a while.
No. There's, to answer your question, Chris. Like the mystery element sometimes is intriguing, but sometimes it seems like you're hiding something, right? So I think, especially from the female perspective, they would rather. I think in generally speaking, not all of them, but I would say the majority.
We're generalizing, obviously.
And not the majority, but the majority would want to see like some kind of like your personality online
That you're
before.
not a sociopath.
Yeah, I think literally the majority, if you don't have any social media presence, it might not be a deal breaker, but it is a red flag.
It's
Which
a
is
flag.
it's kind of crazy that that's where social media has gone to, where it's like it's almost like a prerequisite. Like if you don't have this thing, then something's wrong with you.
Correct.
And that's not true. Like that's not logical, but that has become like part of like the culture where it's So I don't know. Go ahead.
Joe.
Yeah, I totally jump on board with everything you said, Rob. I still refuse to do it. It's just like my own personal
I respect
preference.
that. Yeah.
And for me, if someone wants to put down that red flag, then it's not worth it to me. Then,
Well, yeah,
it's just not. And I find that most women who do that, they tend to be on the younger side, which I'm not really a fan of. Kind of going down that road to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think a lot like our age bracket. I think that's
For
affecting
sure,
all culture,
for
like all
sure.
ages.
But I definitely think
Maybe under the age of 50.
it's heightened more with the 20 somethings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
and
Oh yeah, no,
and
you're
I
spot
just
on.
don't want to go down that road. It's too much.
But there's also a segment of the female population that like that you're not online.
Yes.
They're intrigued by like the mysterious figure.
I mean, you can always find
Yeah.
outliers, but
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I do think it's
So,
more it's
I know you're right,
yeah,
Chris. You're right.
because they're gonna be like, hey, to their friend, I'm gonna go out with this person. It's like in the conversations, like these are like part of like I don't know what is the word, the zeitgeist, where it's like
Yeah,
it's gonna be a question like, well, let me see his like Instagram.
Yep.
correct. Definitely.
He doesn't have an Instagram. Oh, okay. Does like they're not gonna even say Facebook because I don't even think like people really like look at Facebook. You have it, but you don't really use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's your Instagram because that is your image. That shows, like you said, that's your personality. That's how we get a sense of like how you look, how you behave, what your qualities are, what your financial situation is,
what your interests are,
what your
do you have
interests, your
friends?
hobbies. Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's an excellent point because that made me think of two things. If you don't think, that women are like trying to run like social media background checks on you when you go on dates with their friends, you're out of your mind.
Absolutely.
As a man, if you don't think they're in group chats talking about you, because when a woman agrees to go on a date with you, they've already cleared it with like 5 of their friends. I guarantee you. And so Chris is right in that. Now, I forgot the second thing I was going to say. Go ahead, Joe. I'll remember. I'll try to remember.
Then we can move to the second
Yeah,
point because I'm kind of curious.
It'll bleed into that. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the second point then.
All right. So now this, considering that this is the climate that we're in right now, how do you think that's affecting human behavior in person? So now that this is available and this has been kind of the standard, it has been the standard until recently where it's starting to dip. How is that affected human behavior? Is it making, in my opinion, I can tell you my opinion and then I'll turn it over to you. I think it's making men more timid. It's making men less like confident. It's making men. I'm not trying to do some Andrew Tate shit about.
I don't know.
I'm not going there. I'm not going
for a second.
I'm not going that far. Yeah, because even though I actually agree with some of the things he says, but
you're good. Keep going.
Yeah,
he's getting fired up, ladies and gentlemen. So I have to get him to turn down his volume.
Once the sunglasses
slightly.
came off, I knew that was going to happen.
A production note.
But you left off at how you're a gigantic fan of Andrew Tate, and that you watch all of his YouTube videos and follow him on all social media.
But I do think that he makes some solid points, but he just takes it a little. He exaggerates it a little bit. And there was one video, actually, a quick tangent, where a guy was going around on a college campus. He was in the university and he was asking his classmates. He was giving out quotes, and the females were like, "Oh yeah, I kind of agree with that. I like a man that's a little more confident and more forward, and it's like standing on his business and knows like he's sure of himself." And then the guy would say that quote is from Andrew Tate. And then the woman will be like, "Oh no, I take everything I said back." But they agreed with it at first.
Yeah.
They agreed. So,
well, I mean, I think that shows you that's like even an overarching thing of like, you might like an idea, but if the idea isn't packaged in a shape you don't like,
the
you'll just not like the idea. I mean, it's the same thing. That's true of politics, right? If you just heard quotes or policies and you didn't know who they were or what political party they were in, if you're conservative, you probably would agree at times with like Bernie Sanders. But the moment you find out it's Bernie Sanders, you're like, don't like it. That can't be good. That has to be bad, and vice versa. So, I think, I mean, that's
it was a funny video.
Yeah.
So what do you guys make of that? I think I would agree with that. The ironic part, or actually it might be even more hypocritical, is that women do want a man that's confident enough to approach her. But at the same time, they'll like chastise the guy for being too forward or like too flirty.
Okay,
So
so I want to frame it.
you see what I'm
one
trying
second.
to say?
Yeah, because this is
Mhm.
also beyond online dating, right? This is almost
Yeah.
like because of the digital world we live in,
Yep.
right? It's kind of changing. So that's including social media, that's including online dating, that's
Yeah.
including the
In
talking
person.
heads within social media, and you're saying it's slowly affecting how men behave, how women behave,
Yeah.
and like how also like the disconnect between like certain things women like but they won't admit they like, and certain things
Right.
men like but they might not admit they like.
Right.
Is that fair?
That's great.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, I don't, whoever wants to kind of,
Joe,
why don't you tackle that first, Joe? Rob,
me,
since you brought it up. Yeah,
I think it
what's your
has
thought?
had an effect where it's had a negative effect on the way men behave. And like you said before, what we touched on before, the danger element is still there in person, and I acknowledge that definitely. That's always going to be there because you have creep shows out there. You gotta admit that there's definitely that's definitely a problem. But then you see all these women coming out and saying, "Oh, when I go out, no one wants to talk to me because they're scared. They're literally some men are literally scared to talk to women because of the possible ramifications that may be like false accusations." You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that's it. And like I said before, the ironic part is women like men that are confident and assured of themselves and want to be able to approach you in person. So they're almost the authors and the architects of their own demise because they want men to come up to them and they're like, "Oh no, I'm not going to go over there. I'm not going to ask him out. He better come over and talk to me." But then they fostered a culture where men are scared to do that.
I don't think it's. I don't think they foster the culture of doing that. I think
I
it's a
disagree. I think it's big, especially during like a
the
couple
Me
years ago.
Too, yeah, Me
Yeah.
Too movement. I get that, but I, we alluded to this before how you can't read like certain visual cues when you're online dating. You can do that when you're out and about. If you're like at a concert, or if you're at a bar, or if you're in a restaurant or a supermarket, you can
Yeah.
read visual cues. And I think that
True.
it's kind of like a. I know Chris is gonna laugh at this. It's kind of like working out. It's kind of like muscle memory.
yeah,
If you if you keep
Hmm.
doing something, you get better at it. So I feel like people who kind of live on the online dating scene, they don't know how, once they are physically with someone, they don't know how to read those cues. They don't know how to react to certain cues. And it's just a little, it's a little harder for them to try to be able to maneuver the actual real dating world as opposed to going online when you're just chatting. So
yeah. So go ahead,
it's
keep
just,
on, finish your
yeah,
thought.
it's just it's it's a situation that they're gonna have to kind of break that mold and kind of if live between two worlds instead of just only living online.
Yeah, so I think Avery. I mean, maybe I'm because I feel like you're talking. You're making two different points on like kind of like two different topics. So yeah, so like from what I'm hearing from Avery is more you're kind of talking more about cultural shifts. I think
Mm-hmm.
Avery, like which goes more into like the Andrew Tate category, where like men are becoming more. Again, I'm not making any point. I'm just gonna reiterate
Yeah.
because I do agree with some of the things he says. I think they're hard not to,
Yeah.
but like I think what you're talking about, Rob, is like cultural shifts. So like men being taught or learning, and they're becoming more docile and maybe less like
That's a good word.
not aggressive, but just like assertive of like, I like you. Like, I'm going to just tell you that straight up, and
Yeah.
more like apathetic. Like you can, letting the woman lead. And in many cases, like the woman, like it's like the age old thing. Where are we going to go eat? Right. And then you have this back and forth, right? At a certain point, an assertive person is going to say, we're going to go here. And a lot of people like that. Like a lot
And
of women
women
would say,
like that.
you
Yeah.
you pick the place. That's great. It's cool. So that's like a cultural shift. And I think you could identify, maybe we can talk about what's shifted that. I think Joe, you're talking specifically about, from my perspective, like the consequences of just living online. Because I don't think anyone online. I mean, most people I know who do online dating, the goal is to meet in person, and
Mm-hmm.
then the challenge is getting it from online
Line to
to
in
in
person.
person,
Yes.
Hmm.
right? So I know a lot of men, from a man's side, that's a big challenge, like talking to and getting a girl to talk to you, and then transitioning to the real world,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's like different. I don't think I've met too many people, definitely not too many guys, who are more comfortable just staying online. Like for me, their biggest complaint is like, I don't want to be online. Like especially if you're looking for like a sexual relationship, right? Like which most men they are, whether like yeah. So I mean, that's why I think it's like two different points. Like I don't know anyone who really is like likes being doing online dating and staying there and never being able to transition to the real world. So like that's like to me like I think a different subject entirely.
Yeah,
Does that track? Because
I
I think you're talking like culture. I
yeah.
think Avery.
No, you're right. Like the culture of interacting with opposite genders, or the gender that you identify with, or the one that you want to be in a relationship with. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean
But
Joe, I think for you, I think you're 100% spot on because I even heard complaints. I've heard this. I don't know if it's true, but like the next generation, so Gen Z,
Yeah.
especially the younger part of it, like they have a lot of problems in work because they're not good at communicating and like because
Mm-hmm.
they've lived a whole digital world, right? And COVID, right? So like they don't know how to like how do I talk to my boss and like how do
Mhm,
I interact with my coworkers? How do I express
mhm,
frustration in like a healthy way?
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me is like a consequence of like if all you do is you're online a lot, then like yeah you have no social skills, and I do think that's real. Like in the classroom they talk about that, in the workplace they talk about that. I think there's an overall frustration because a lot of these people can't find girlfriends because they don't know how to like engage in the world and talk to people and stuff like that. So I think we could talk about either of these, like, but I think they're two different categories.
yeah, that's a good point, because that behavior is across the board now. People just don't know how to deal with other human beings in the real world as a product of not just online dating, but just living your life in the digital realm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, for what I was trying to get a job in, a lot of the young people like they're just not comfortable. Stuff that you guys do so naturally, like Joe, you could sit and talk about a computer with someone for probably 30 minutes and it's not even challenging. Like, and that conversation will be about the computer, about their life, maybe about what your interests are. Like you'll have this sprawling conversation and it probably took you zero effort. Like you just like this is a muscle you've trained so frequently, like you don't even think about it. But for like Gen Z, like that's a stressful, like that would be stress. Like they would have to prep themselves. You might have I wonder if you even saw that when you were working at Apple, like the next batch, the youngest batch of people, was that more of a challenge being able to just converse with people?
Not so.
And
Not
again, Apple does they do a really good job
they do.
hiring the right
Yes, they
personalities.
do.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I was going to allude to without actually saying it. Not at the store, but I definitely noticed like in social interactions, there's a bit more of a oddity or weirdness to them that, and maybe I don't know
Mm,
if that was the case when we were like 20 somethings. I feel like we were not as kind of siloed off or kind of closed off. We were more eager to talk to people, and we weren't as anxious about all these different things. But I
Yeah.
definitely noticed like younger generations that I interacted with when I was at the fruit stand, they were a little bit more kind of ang- anxious about everything, so when it comes to social interactions with the same sex or opposite sex. It was interesting to see.
I mean, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that would be kind of fun because you were in the wild. You got the chance to
yeah.
like you're watching employees, you're watching them interact with each other, you're watching them interact with you, you're watching them interact with employees or not employees, like customers of
Hmm.
all shapes and sizes, cute girls, cute guys, old people, young people, whatever. So like that's kind of like the perfect little experiment to just watch like the human dynamics. Go ahead, Avery.
Yeah, no. But to Joe's point, I would expect it to be that way. So I wouldn't be surprised that they're a little awkward when they're out, like trying to interact with each other publicly. And
So
it's precisely because of how they grew up.
okay, I was gonna say because when we were that age, were we that awkward? I'm just trying to like.
Some people were, but most of
Yeah.
us weren't.
Yeah, I think some,
So,
but they're just awkward.
Yeah.
But like I think, for example, like when I started, which you guys were there, I think well before I was.
Mhm,
But like I talked to people, Fung, right?
mhm.
She's like there was a significant gap in our life experience when I started working there. I'm in with my early mid 20s. She has kids. She's like had a career outside of working there, and like we could have conversations, and they would be enjoyable. I would imagine she had enjoyable conversations with us. We spent time and talked to like, remember what was it, David White?
Oh man, yeah, David.
yeah.
Dave White, right?
That guy was the man.
So cool, and you could have a conversation, and he could have a conversation with us. He was probably in his, I don't know, 70s, maybe late 60s.
Mhm.
So I feel like some of us might have had awkwardness just because of your own personality, but I think as a generation, maybe we were just more like accustomed to like. I mean, you have to talk to people. Like this is kind of like there
It's
was
'cause-
no other option really.
It's because we grew up with on the playground and in the park interacting with people, and in school with no devices in front of us and stuff.
Yeah, you
like
spent
that.
time with your friends in the real
Yeah.
world. Like we had AIM, like when we were in high school. Like that's it. You know what I mean?
Is that how you call it?
I was gonna
AIM?
say, who says AIM?
Yeah. What would you guys call
AIM.
it? AIM.
Yeah.
Although I never used it, but still.
I did. All sold out 94, baby.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's like, dude, I know my own not personality, but like I have been changed by how the current internet is. If I have a spare second, like I almost by default go to YouTube. It's almost like the tab YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. And it's almost like a habit. Like I'm not even like captaining the ship. It's like becoming my default. For other people, it's like their default is X or Twitter or Instagram, whatever. So like I'm aware that I've been trained. And we didn't grow up with this stuff. Imagine if you've grown up with this your whole like mature life. If I've been changed, they're definitely been changed. And that's probably what you're kind of identifying.
Yeah, they've been molded by this current environment. That's correct.
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, my first iPhone, I was working at Apple and I didn't have an iPhone. I had
Yeah,
like, I don't even
neither
think I
did
had
I.
like a significant smartphone. I got made fun of because how crappy my phone was. when
I had a
worked at Apple.
flip phone when I first started.
So I mean, imagine if you were 14 and your first cell phone is an iPhone. That's insane.
yeah, when you have the internet,
They're looking
and
at porn all the time, probably, man. Like, come on now.
They are.
Let's think about that, and we'll talk about that later.
I knew that was coming.
They are.
But here, I
Totally.
want to pivot to now, Avery, the point you're making. Like,
Yeah.
what do you identify as that shift? Because that's like beyond technology. I think there's like, why has that dynamic between men and women changed?
I think it's because we've been too. It's. I see what you're saying. It's blending, like just living your life on. It's not just using the technology. It's living your life online, and that being your career. Because Chris and I worked with someone whose career is posting videos online. You know who I'm talking about. She's the best.
Oh, there you go.
She's
Okay, it took me a second.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, who are we
You know
talking
who
about?
it is.
I was like,
That's
I
her
don't know
job.
anyone. Yeah.
So now it's people's job. They don't go into an office. They're not working remotely, even at their computer. You're not just using the technology. Yeah, your life is posting your entire life online, if that makes sense. So I think that's the part that created this shift where people don't even know, to your guys' point, they don't know how to order at a restaurant properly. The social manners are out the window. And forget about dating. They have no clue what's going on. And
Yeah, but-
because go ahead.
No, go finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Because they're they've been so reliant, and they have such a insatiable desire to post everything that they do online. Because for some, like I said, for some of them it's their career, they have to do it because that's how they make their money. But it's created this culture of people that don't know how to speak to each other face to face, and when they do, it's either, to the point earlier, it's either super awkward or it's like extremely rude and like just batshit. So that's what I think it is. I think it's not just the reliance on technology for work in your life. It's when people started living their lives digitally.
Interesting. So here, then let's pivot to your point 3 of
which is a good segue. Yeah, OnlyFans. It was always going to come here, people.
Well, and that's also. I mean, maybe that's the most recent iteration, but like we could talk about. It's essentially influencers, Instagram, any type of visual medium where you can essentially just make money off of how you look, how you present yourself, the lifestyle you're trying to project into the world, which now OnlyFans is kind of like the current iteration of this behavior. So how do you think this has affected specifically the dynamic of like dating?
It's a good question.
And like mating, finding someone, what you view as like realistic characteristics, like maybe what people were searching for 20 years ago or 30 years ago versus like what like an 18-year-old 19-year-old has in their mind for what they want now. So I don't know, you pick this particular point. So
it's a good topic. So there's definitely an element of desensitivity, which I'll get into, but mainly what you guys said before, that's why I was going to disagree with that, but I was going to wait onto this segment. People are okay with not going out and meeting a man or a woman now because they have OnlyFans. Because you said that humans naturally have a carnal instinct to interact with each other, yeah? And I think that's dwindling because of things like OnlyFans, because you don't have to go outside anymore. You can get your rocks off online, and it can be personalized. So it's not just watching a video, yeah, that's open to the public. You can pay, have a subscription, and have a private one-to-one video, which is diminishing the need to go outside and interact with someone. So I think that's the main problem with OnlyFans. And the funny part about OnlyFans is it started out as not an adult explicit content website. It was for like people. It was like, you guys know Cameo, where you can have celebrities and athletes. Mm-hmm. Chris, you know what it is? No. I'll explain it. So Cameo is an app which got obliterated by OnlyFans. Cameo was a successful app before OnlyFans, where you can have you can pay a celebrity or an athlete or like a public figure to send you like a message about something, like congratulations on your new job, Chris. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And imagine if I got Russell Crowe to send you a congratulatory message. You see what I'm saying? You can do stuff like that. It was Cameo is you can pay someone that's well known to send you a personalized message for your birthday, for an event, wedding, whatever, like some monumental life event. That was what OnlyFans originally was supposed to be, where I can be like Matthew McConaughey, and you could subscribe to my OnlyFans page, and then I'll read like a personalized like motivational thing for you, right? Then it just turned COVID. It just turned way to the dark side. Yeah, to the dark side, where now it's just it's an adult website now, and the problem is the line keeps moving further and further and further. Before it was just for people for like their minor fetishes and stuff, right? You can do like the feet.
Yeah, you could call it maybe like soft pornography, like a cam girl.
Yeah. And
bro, I've never been on OnlyFans. I'm assuming I'm making an educated guess. I haven't. I mean, I know perfectly honest with you.
I know it well because I hate it so much. But it's everyone's on it. Like popular musicians are on it, making like $50 million a year.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do think there are. I think you have. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just going to add this because I do think like there is a there's a slow reversal where like the non girl OnlyFans are starting to try to fight back. Like there's UFC fighters that have OnlyFans.
Yeah,
There
that's what I'm saying.
are some
That's
other
what it was originally meant to be.
athletes. They're kind of like trying to take it back. But I think I could be wrong, but I do think like essentially webcam, which this is the next evolution of just like cam girls, is the predominant user or creator on OnlyFans. I could be wrong, but I think
You're
that's
not
the
wrong.
case.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But the alarming part to me is it's not just predominant; it's monumental amounts of wealth that are involved in this. Which leads to two problems before you go, Joe. It leads to two problems, which is like the stunt aspect of it, which I want to talk about after you say what you're going to say. But it's also, this is the way people make their living. And what does that say about the audience? Not just the content creator, but the audience itself.
Well said. Yeah.
So I don't have an issue with any of that stuff. In terms of the person making money off of it, even the people that consume it. I think the problem is the people that consume it, though. You kind of get, like you said, Rob, desensitized to being in real life. When you are with your partner, you expect a certain kind of thing that is just not accessible. The things that you're seeing online on an OnlyFans or on some
pornography. I mean, I think it's a common.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to see this in real life, and you're setting yourself up for failure if you kind of expect and kind of get hooked on these porn sites or OnlyFans sites, and then you just, I don't know, you're gonna not have a healthy like lifestyle or healthy sex life if you're just living on these websites. It's a weird dynamic to put yourself in, and when you get hooked in, it's hard to kind of get out. I don't know if there's a solution to that. I really don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well said. So I have a couple points. I think you kind of hit me, Joe. Like that was pretty much what I was going to say something similar. Like so, I think one, I mean, pornography. If we just put OnlyFans in the category of pornography, it is pornography.
Which
so
it
just
is.
call it what it is. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like at this point, it's well known, just like gambling, that like pornography, it's a vice, and it's going to change your brain. Now it's a vice that also affects like your human sex drive. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of people, and I'm on Reddit too. I mean, you go into some of these forums with younger people, younger generation, their like sex drive is completely messed up because like they've been consuming pornography in some shape or size at a degree that we can't even comprehend. If we were their age with the same technology, we would have consumed the same amount. But thank God that we just were not around at that time. Like, think about it. I could find stuff on the internet, but we were looking at pictures, when I was a little kid, and it's still, I regret it. Like going back, I wish I could just pimp slap my younger self because it definitely was not good from any perspective, from a health perspective, I take a moral standpoint to it. Like, it's just not good. And it's like, if your goal is to like have a girlfriend, have a wife, like we all know, like when I watch like John Wick, that's not reality. That's not how real fighting is. It's a movie. It's fantasy. But I can disassociate from it. But with pornography and OnlyFans, because it pulls on all of those hormone drives, just like you said, Joe, so articulately, like you just will not have. You're going to expect things from your normal girlfriend, who's a human being in the real world and is not an actor, that are going to disrupt that relationship or create like problems. So I agree 100%. Like, I'm very much against pornography. I've consumed a fair amount in my life, and I regret it. Like, to this day, I just think it's not good. And I'll take the moral stance. I'll say it's not healthy. Like, we should ban it. Like it should just not be acceptable.
No.
You should not. This is like, I don't stand, this is just, I'm being like over the top. I think prostitution would be healthier than pornography.
Wow.
I agree with that, but there's so much
And
money
I'm not
involved.
saying you should have prostitution.
I get it.
I'm just saying that if you had to
That's
pick
I
a
agree
lesser
with
of
that.
two evils, I actually think prostitution is better, because at least
It's more dangerous though, diseases and stuff.
correct. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying we should make this possible, but to show you how bad pornography is, I would say if someone was to eliminate it and legalize prostitution, society would be healthier. And that's bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's horrible. It's just like saying to kill cancer, you do radiation. Radiation is not good, but it's the lesser of two evils. That's the point I'm trying to make. The other point I just want to make is I think just like with acting, a small percent of the women on OnlyFans make a lot of money. Like 10% make 90% of like the profits. That's what I bet you, because that's just true of acting, right? How many millions of actors there are, and 1% of them are like Brad Pitt making hundreds of millions of dollars, or Tom Cruise. But there's a lot of other people putting in all the same amount of energy, the same amount of time, making similar or more sacrifices, but will never get the payout. That to me is also a major. This is the other side. So
Bingo.
There's the consumer, and then there's the creator. I think there's a lot of women on OnlyFans, men too, because there's probably guys getting naked on OnlyFans.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Who, when they get older or later, because this is the internet, man. All this stuff lives on. People clip stuff. Like you can so easily screen capture anything you watch. Nothing is like protected. And there's going to be people who make no money on OnlyFans, but they've essentially like, I'm going to use sold their soul. And now, like 20 years ago, when they're like in their 30s, like this stuff is going to come to haunt them. That's the end of my
no. That second point is perfect,
because not all of them are making hundreds of millions. No way. Yeah. That's like 1%. That's like the 1% of YouTubers.
Yeah, but the problem with that website is when women and men, like you said, because it's both. Yeah, everyone does it. You see people and you aspire to be that person. Yeah, 100%. Which is why we talked about masculinity with Andrew Tate. This is the feminine side of it. Now that we're glorifying and we're boosting these people up for making $50 million, and now you have teenage girls that want to be that. They don't want to go get a real job. They want to just make content on OnlyFans and be Iggy Azalea and make $35 million a year. And like you said, most of them are not going to make it, but they're going to try to do it. And then when they actually go back into the real world, start their family, have an ordinary job.
That's if they can get those things back after.
That's what I'm saying.
Done.
Like that's the dangerous.
You're trying to find a husband, and he's like, "Well, I googled your name,
and look what you were doing.
And I found clips of you doing all kinds of stuff. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. That's exactly what I was just going to say. So you're going to, down the line, most of the people, the 90% that don't make it, that thought they were going to make it because everyone else, they see it as like an easy way to get rich, because there are women that weren't famous before. Sure. The women that have the most money on OnlyFans were already famous before they did OnlyFans. They were musicians. They were already adult actresses before they were doing all that. Those are the ones that make the most money. But now you got the ordinary woman from in Nebraska somewhere, the middle of nowhere, that's just graduated high school. Now that she's of age, she can do OnlyFans. She wants to do that, doesn't make it, makes barely any money, wants to, like you said, Chris, like wants to go back, and she's going to, can she get a normal job? Can she find a husband? Can she start a family? And it's the same thing with men. I'm not trying to saying it's only the women. It's men are doing the same thing.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, think of them essentially as like you're entering into the adult film industry. let's call it what it
The
is.
stigma is still there.
So if you're a man and you've been doing like, I don't know, 100, because 1 year in the adult film industry, you might make 100 films, right? And then like 2 years later, you're like, I don't, I regret that I did that. When you're gonna go try to have a traditional family, let's say that's what you wanted,
Yeah.
it's gonna be difficult because when someone, not many people are gonna be like, yeah, I'm okay with the fact that like for, I don't know, 2025 to 2026, you did 200 adult films and slept with, uh, 500 people. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. There's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be a no go. So you did something. I mean, and that's like life, right? We make choices and then we don't think about the future consequences. And then when that future arrives, we realize, oh, I maybe shouldn't have done this. That's true of, I think, anything you do. But I think there are things where, like, I don't know, it'd be nice if we didn't make it so easy that you could just all of a sudden become like try your hand at being an adult film star. So here, I wanna ask you both a question. So as you've gotten older, you become seasoned, like aged meat. Like, what do you look for now, right? Because this is a question about dating and maybe finding someone if that's what you want, and for some that's not. That's fine. What do you look for now that you didn't look for, let's say, when you were 25? Has your perspective on dating changed? What you want in a relationship changed? The type of person you're looking for changed? The characteristics of that person, like what you want, to Avery's question, like, has even what you consider like a good date changed? How have you changed in your view of like this topic that we're talking about?
You
like,
go
Avery,
first,
what
Joe.
are you looking for?
You want me to go first?
Yeah. So like,
it's going to be long.
Go for it.
Yeah, hit it.
I know. I feel like I'm going to agree with some of the stuff that Rob is going to say too.
It's changed markedly, definitely. Because when I was younger, it was more aesthetics and how you looked and how fun you were. So, like, I was into a girl that was attractive. Obviously, we all want attractive. We all want to be physically attractive,
Of course.
But I also like women that liked going out and partying. So, which I think, I know Chris would disagree with that, but I think Joe would agree. I liked women that would like going out and partying, that were hot, right? Those were the two things I cared about. Now,
Yeah,
pretty much
he was a professional hockey player who didn't play hockey.
Yeah. But now I want someone. I'm looking for intelligence. I don't care about money. Financial, that doesn't matter to me at all. That never mattered to me.
I mean,
ever.
For men, it doesn't. I mean,
right.
I've never met a man
fair.
who cared what his significant other made.
But it's changing now.
Yeah.
There's a shift happening. There's more stay-at-home husbands now than there were when we were back in our day, when we were in the game. So, intelligence is number one for me, and being interesting and your interests. So, something like, what literature are you into? For me, I know most people don't really care about this, but I do. Like, are you into sports or not? That matters for me.
Yeah, I think it'd be difficult for you to be in a meaningful relationship with someone who didn't like sports at all.
Yeah, that would be a big problem.
Yeah.
I don't think could happen.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. So,
wait. So, could you? So you think you don't think you can be with a woman who isn't into sports but still respects that you are into sports?
No, I think
you couldn't be with a casual.
No.
Wow.
I think I have to be with someone who's at least doesn't have to be at the start, but willing to get into it more than just being casual.
Okay.
You don't have to be an expert on UFC when I meet you, but you have to be willing to participate, like get into like start learning and educating yourself.
That's
You see what I'm saying?
interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah. So
Get ready, because there might be
Eh,
some things that you got to educate
eh,
yourself
yeah.
on.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure, dude.
Yeah,
Come on.
go ahead. Yeah,
Watch Love Island.
Definitely.
yeah, exactly. Bravo.
I think that's where I draw the line. I'm gonna have a hard stop on dating shows. But you never know. There's compromises.
I was
can
gonna
be made.
say, yeah, you got to give,
Yeah.
you got to give to get.
Yeah, compromises. It and to your point, if they outright dislike sports, then
Now,
it'll never happen.
That I get. I'm just surprised that they can't be a casual. That surprises me.
They can be a casual at start, but they have to be willing to get
Oh,
into it
man.
over time.
That's
So what
asking
if-
for a lot,
So
man.
what if like it's not that they really, but like they're willing to go, like if you, like UFC, right? You're like, I'm gonna go watch the UFC. They don't really care, but they have no qualm about just spending the time with you. I'll go watch it with you, and
Yeah,
like,
that's the start. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
agree. That's good.
but that's different from saying like they actually are like genuinely care, like
They're looking up the UFC schedule like I am.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
that's
they
a
don't
whole
have
di-
to do that.
yeah,
That's
I was like,
different.
that's a tall order. 'Cause it's-
Yeah. No, I'm not talking that level. No.
Yeah, but like someone who is like going to share that time with you. Like I'm going to, oh, hey, you're going to go watch soccer on Saturday. Maybe
Yeah.
they're not going to go every Saturday morning with you, but like a big game, they're going to go sit and not have like a sour face the whole time. Like at
Right,
least
exactly. And
be like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, okay. I know this team. This is Avery's team. This is the
Yeah.
team he loves.
the fucking Gronkies, man. So, um, yeah, but like you said, they can't feel like it's a chore for them. The woman can't feel like, oh, I got to get up early and go. They have to, like, there needs to be the desire that, like, okay, yeah, we're gonna have fun today, and we're gonna watch soccer. Even though I'm not gonna know all the players, I'm not gonna know the points tally of all the teams and stuff, but it can't be something that they're getting dragged to.
Got
You
it.
see what I'm
Okay,
saying?
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's more reasonable. I think maybe you can get that, or at
Yeah.
least maybe they won't make you. They're a good actress and they can enjoy the time with you while they're thinking about something else.
Yeah, but the number one thing is intelligence and being like you're having interesting personality and funny. I like funny.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's gone from
Just being
physical, which essentially when you're saying physical, it's like you want to enjoy their body, to like I want to spend time with you and like have things that we. I mean, I'm trying to be like
it's a weird way of putting
trying
it.
to be
but
nice
alright.
about it, but like
Yeah.
if you just care about someone's looks, it's like you don't even care what they think. Literally, you just want their body to be near you. Like, let's call it. When a athlete has 7 beautiful women around him, he doesn't care what they say anything. He just likes that they have these beautiful bodies around him.
I
It's
mean,
crap.
yeah,
It is what
yeah,
it is.
yeah. You're not wrong.
He's not having conversations with them, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Or they might be having conversations with him, but he's not listening to them.
My God.
Uh,
So yeah, does that answer the question? It
Yeah, I think
shifted
it does.
from, like you said, purely physical.
Yeah.
But like I said, I
Better well
like
said.
I also like the fun personality.
Yeah,
Like,
you want
the
someone
woman
to
that's
share
extrovert,
time with,
super
and, like,
extroverted. Yeah,
enjoy each other's company, like in have conversation, talking, doing things together.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, cool. But that's interesting because, and I think that's not uncommon. I think that's common for most people as they get older, right? It's like what you valued in that relationship changed from when you were like 20 to when you were 35 or 40 or whatever. All right,
Yeah.
Joe, you're on the hot seat, not the hot plate.
Pretty much, almost for the most part, piggybacking on Rob. Definitely, in my younger years, definitely more enamored with like physical traits, like smile, like definitely like concerned with like lower body, like
I was just
like
gonna say
traits.
that.
Yeah,
You're
Waist down,
go ahead,
baby.
keep
yeah.
going.
I know. I that's what I don't
That's
know
fair.
why, but it's just always enamored with thighs and hips. It's my thing. I didn't really care about anything else.
We need a Freud here. We need to
Oh,
do a deep
boy.
dive into
Yeah,
your family background.
Dude,
Go ahead,
legs,
go ahead.
legs. Joe is bang on. Legs, hips, waist, and
glutes.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's my
This is
my
why
jam.
Joe spent so much time in the gym. Now I
Oh my
understand why.
god.
Oh, you're seeing that all day long.
No, not really.
Really?
Not really. I
There's
mean,
toothpicks in there.
no, there's definitely toothpicks there. It's like a wide array of things at the gym. But that's not the reason why I'm there. But
Okay.
that's a different story for a different day. But yeah, I just back in my younger days, just enamored with physical traits, and also really because I'm still a bit of an introvert. Was definitely also enamored with connecting with extroverts, someone who could pull out my a side of myself that I normally wouldn't actually display to people. So
Got it.
so that was another thing that I was
I
enamored
like
with,
that.
just trying to get me to get out of my shell. But as I've gotten older, there's definitely more. I mean, it's still physical traits for sure,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
but I found that I want to be around a woman who is kind. I've just noticed there's a lot of cattiness around around, and it's just hard to kind of hard to square myself with being with someone who can be that mean to other people.
Mm.
It's just it's weird to kind of see. So just kindness is a big thing for me.
Oh yeah.
Um, like Rob, having conversations about various different topics, not being so superficial, um,
Hmm.
and kind of being their genuine self. There's like being with a woman who is so forward about what she loves to do and has no qualms about saying it 24/7. There's something special about that. Like just seeing them like light up and get excited about a certain topic or multiple topics. That's kind of it's interesting and really fun to be a part of. And I don't know. It's just that's a big thing for me. Just seeing like someone get excited, and it's kind of hard to see that in my kind of age group. I think the kind of life is beating some people down, but when I do notice that, it's definitely something that I kind of latch onto.
Mm.
Um, but I know for me personally, I definitely there's a kind of like emptiness to like a younger like group that I don't want to really be around. I kind of want to be around more of a my age group or even older. I feel like older women know exactly what they want. They don't want to play games. I think that's a definitely a thing that I look for in terms of a partner. Like someone who's older, someone who knows what they want and they don't want to actually just beat around the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And
no. I like older women as well. I wouldn't
so,
mind dating someone in their like mid to late 40s.
I'd even say 50s. As long as they see, but the problem with that then, and I've also experienced this, is like the kid aspect. I
Ooh, that's a big one for
Yeah,
me.
it's
No,
just
I'm not dealing with that. Yeah.
it's hard. I've dealt with it. It's hard to do. Man, it
I
like
wouldn't recommend that.
yeah, I don't I wouldn't recommend it either. But when you're interacting with someone that you really like, sometimes you just do things. But yeah, I prefer not to be with someone who has kids, and I definitely don't even if I'm with someone who doesn't have kids but wants kids, that's something I don't want to be a part of either. Like I don't want to have that specter of okay, my clock is ticking and you really need to make a decision if we're going to have a family or not when I don't want to have family. It's not
Hmm.
it's a bit of a bit more drama than I really don't want to be around.
mm.
Yeah, that's a big one for me. I forgot to mention that. I'm not. I don't think I want to be involved in starting a family. That's
Well,
a major. That's a major sticking point. Yeah,
I mean, the one thing I think is
for women.
based
For
off your
women
Yeah.
too.
age
Yeah.
characteristics, I think you've kind of eliminated that as a problem
It,
to some
it,
degrees.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
40s, 50s, like it's possible, but I think less likely.
Yes.
Whereas if you were trying to date maybe younger than that, that's going to be more on the table if that's something that they want. It's going to be conversation, right?
But
so yeah, I mean,
I have come into contact with like single moms and just moms in general, and it's just a weird dynamic to be a part of. And I want to be part of like a stress free or drama free life, and just dealing with that is not fun.
This is
at
also
all.
one of the reasons why you're probably single,
Yeah,
because I feel like
yeah.
it's kind of you want to live a bachelor life. There's less stress, but I think anytime you're in a relationship, there's two people. There's friction. Like I think
Yeah,
it's
I don't want to share the
inevitable.
remote. I'm not trying to share the remote. I'm watching what I
And
watch.
ladies and gentlemen, this is why there is not a Mrs. Avery or a Mrs. Mark. It's there you
What-
have it
Yeah,
first
what about you,
on the
Chris?
Draxx Life.
I know one requirement has to be ex-military.
Yeah, Mossad, obviously.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's similar patterns. I do think like as I've gotten older, it's like, and I think this is very natural. Like if you had this conversation with any group of men, I think what they look for, if they've matured to some degree, has changed as they've gotten older. So I think earlier I'd say the same things, right? Like when you're young, you're more focused. I mean, men are always focused on what something looks like. I think when they're younger, it's 100% what they're looking for. Or let's say 90, right? It's 90%. And then the 10% is these other things. As you get older and you become, like you said, like you don't want friction. Like you're not going to date crazy because it's fun or it looks nice. And you're going to have all of the stress. So like, as you get older, you're just like, no, I'm not going to deal with that. And you make better decisions. Go ahead.
Let me interject here. So we all agree about the physical part. So let me focus the question
I don't know.
more
I feel like
and tighten it.
Chris
in terms of the younger self.
Okay,
in terms of the younger self.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We all agree on the physical part.
Everything else is just going to be like the psychological.
Yeah. So what personality traits were you attracted to when you were younger? Even when you were younger. Yeah.
I mean, to some degree, I think it's somewhat similar to Joe. Like I'm maybe more naturally introverted. I've become extroverted as I've gotten older and I've been in different situations, but I always liked potentially being with someone who was outgoing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to, if I'm the most outgoing person in the dynamic, I'm pretty outgoing, but that's not good. Like I want someone else that's going to be like, fun, exciting. Right. So I always enjoyed being around people who were more like lighthearted, fun, let's go for a walk. Let's do something. I don't want to be the person who in the dynamic that's always trying to get you to go do something. I want to either be the equal or that person be more extroverted.
Yin to the yang.
Yeah, correct. Like, cause I can be extroverted, but like, I don't want someone who's so introverted where I'm like, okay, like, is this the time where you need to be by yourself? And like, you know what I mean? I want someone who's like joyful, optimistic, positive. Like those are big things for me. Positivity and like
I see.
Dreamers. Like I'm pretty like I'm a dreamer. Like I think a lot of things are possible. Like I kind of prescribe by the idea of like shoot for the stars, and if you miss, you get in the clouds. Like life is gonna beat you down. Life is gonna like you might as well dream and then like try, and then if you fail, it's fine. But like you tried. I always was bothered by the personality type of like, this is not possible. I'm always going to be like doing this type of job or doing this and that. And I'm like, that's possible. It's probably true. But like, I'm not going to dwell on that. Like, I'd rather you strive for the thing you want and then not get it than just be like, oh, it's always going to be this way. Like that type of like Eeyore mentality, like, I don't have that. So to be in that, could never be in that dynamic with someone. So like optimistic, positive, interesting, like ask questions. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on dates where I'm like doing a full on interview, and it's like I'm waiting. Like in my mind, I'm just kind of like waiting for them to ask me a question about anything, and like an hour passes, and I'm like, so I know all this stuff about you. In my mind, I'm like, you didn't ask me anything about myself. You just talked about yourself for the whole time. maybe it's because you're uncomfortable. Who knows? But like, I like people who are inquisitive or that are going to ask you questions that like have interests of their own and like can talk about things. Because I like to talk. Like, I want to talk about an idea. So that's like another thing. Like, they
Yeah,
have to be able to have a conversation and be curious. So I think that's kind of like some of the high
I
level
like that.
things I'm
So
interested
even
in.
when you were younger, you cared about
Yeah.
the quality of the conversation and stuff. See, I
Yeah.
didn't care about that.
I could
I
see.
just cared about the woman that's smoking cigarettes outside the bar and doing shots.
And ladies and
Like, I'm
gentlemen, this
like,
is why you know that
I
in the
didn't give a shit about
biography
that.
of Robert Avery, many of his stories are going to start there. He saw this woman; she was smoking a
Smoking this.
cigarette. I had to go know her.
Wait,
And
Yeah.
hold on.
If she smokes, she pokes, baby. Come
Oh
on.
my god!
That's the saying. I didn't coin that.
I've never heard it except
heard
from
of it.
you.
I've never
Maybe.
heard that
Except from
either.
you.
Maybe I did coin it. Who
Wait,
knows?
so you actually like smokers?
No, but
Okay.
I hate cigarettes.
Okay.
But it's because what it represents.
Okay.
It means there's availability.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
There's
fine.
there's a market opportunity there. Am I wrong?
Don't delve too deeply into the inner psyche of Robert
Yeah.
Avery. You will get lost.
It's what the cigarette represents, not the actual
No,
smoking.
Freudian
my
aspect to this.
God.
Oh yeah.
So, okay,
it's
yeah.
deep. It's deep.
So, but I think so. Like from that, so now to ask the question about now, for me the biggest things are like I think I would like to get married and I would like to have kids. So that changes. Like that's one point that you and I, the three of us, like I diverge from you. So I was thinking about this literally this before we had this conversation. So like I actually am in a position where I think for you guys, you're actually like, if you wanted to pursue what you wanted to pursue, you're in kind of in a good situation because you don't want to date young. You ideally shouldn't because it's like you don't want to have kids. So like you're already looking for older and you don't like they're ideally less likely that they might want to have children.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, maybe not. But then you also have some more mature, right? You don't have to deal with some of the things that you guys comment on. For me, like that's because I've waited so long. That is going to be a challenge. I have to kind of like pros and cons. I'm going to have to wrestle with that because I'm going to have to date someone who is younger, which I don't have anything against, but culturally we'll have less in common. So I have to like hopefully find like a diamond in the rough who's like an old soul but is young enough. And I mean that's going to be challenging. And that person also has to be down to like date and or marry and or mate with someone who's older than them, potentially significantly. So I mean that's for me, I think about that. That's a challenge. So there's always pros and cons. Like that's something I'm gonna have to deal with
Yeah, no, that's
to
a good
get
point.
real.
But I think, what do you guys think about? Do you think the new age coming up is more family traditional? You said there's like a new movement of younger women in their early 20s that do actually want to start families.
Yeah, they have
like
a
the
name for it. It's
traditional.
called trad wives.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, this is a
Yeah,
real thing.
I've heard
Joe.
of it. Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, dude, if you think about it, they're actually the
Traditional.
norm. It's just that we've had, like, from the 60s to now, for better or worse, there was, like, such a, like, the sexual revolution, depending on how you look at it, was a good and a bad. Because from what I understand, people have never been more lonely
It's
now
true.
than they were historically. And part of it's because historically, for better or worse, right? I mean, I'm generalizing. Definitely you can find bad examples and all. But people, like, were kind of driven by culture to find someone younger, right? So they met someone in their early 20s. That person's been with them by our age. Someone's been with them for almost 20 years. Imagine having a companion that you care about. And again, it can go like we can find bad examples, but
yes, there's plenty.
But I think for the sake of the human race, like I don't think the majority ended badly. I don't believe that to be the case. Most people I know who are married are happily married.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we can name. Even friends that we have in common, like.
Yeah, but I think that's more. What's the word? That's because we know people that are cool and good people. Because divorce lawyers in America make
Correct.
boatloads.
Yeah.
But I also think that we could have that conversation a different day. But I think
Yeah.
culturally, that's also shifted where people are unwilling to, again, I'm generalizing, but like, I think if you talk to divorce lawyers too, because they're like, you can find interviews of them, people are not willing to work together. Like when they hit up a roadblock, they divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas historically,
You
you
would try to
work
get
through
through
it.
it.
I mean, if you talk to people who got married, even happily married, like your brother, I'd be curious to know. Like a lot of people I've talked to, it's like the first couple years of marriage are like the most challenging years of the marriage because two people who have two different personalities and have been single are now like not just dating, not just in a relationship, are like in this like tightly locked thing, and now they're like wrestling to try to figure out like I like to do things this way, this is what I did when I was a kid. Oh no, we do it very differently how I grew up. Okay, now we got to figure out a way to like compromise on these, and there's like thousands of those issues. I think more now people kind of like when they hit that roadblock, they might not be willing to like go through those 2-3 years. I don't know, that's just like from people
No,
I've talked
I
to.
hear you. I hear you. But I still think the majority of marriages fail even in 2025.
Not the
It's
majority, dude. That's
I
not.
think it
That's. I
is.
think that's a
I think
false
it's over.
statement.
I think it's
No,
over
I think it's
50%.
a false statement.
Someone can fact check me, but I
Yeah.
believe it's over 50%.
And I'd also be curious to look at
Yeah.
where. Let's break that down on a
Yeah.
regional basis,
Well, that's a different. Yeah, I see.
right? Like, what is the population of California versus the population of New York versus like Oklahoma, Kentucky, the vast majority of our country. That might be a fun conversation to have
Yeah.
just on like divorce
Yeah.
and marriage in particular.
True.
But anyway,
True.
to your question,
Well,
yeah.
I got one last question, and then
Yeah,
we
we'll
can
wrap it
wind
up.
down. So, Joe, let's start with Joe.
Yeah, hit it. Joe, you finish.
Give me your ideal first date?
Oh.
What the woman looks like, the setting, the setting. Paint the picture, the activity, what's going on. What's your like romantic first date?
I don't like
Speaking
the.
from your
Okay.
age now, not
Yeah,
when you were younger.
definitely
Right
now.
now.
I don't like using that word, romantic. That's not.
Why?
That's not really. I don't know. That's just.
Women love it.
No,
Women love
trust
romance.
me. I know that, but it's just not. That's not me.
I mean, another reason to Chris's point, while we're single.
Yeah, that's
Man said he doesn't like romance.
No,
he just literally just said it on camera.
For a first date. I think that's a bit much. If you know what I mean.
There's still ways you can do it. But go ahead.
Well, just put your I mean, what's your ideal? You've known someone because again, you didn't meet them online. You have known them a little bit. Maybe you worked alongside them. Yeah. You've mustered the courage, and now you're asking them out just for a one-on-one, like non-friend interaction. What would that interaction look like?
Okay, so for the interaction itself, probably sitting at Battery Park probably sitting at Battery Park or Hudson River Park, and it's sunset. Just being able to just chit chat, talk with the person, not have it be a rigid environment like you're at like a restaurant or a movie theater. You can just have a free flowing environment where you can just talk, and you're not worried about time. You're not worried about all these external things that are around you. You kind of lose yourself in this person. That's really kind of my ideal environment for like a first date or any date. When it comes to the woman in particular, like my ideal woman,
Joe's
I mean,
a poet.
nah,
Like who's attracting you physically now at your age?
Dude, Joe is a deep man. Dude, we don't know because he's kept this all at bay for like years.
My whole thing is
him for 20 years, and he's still, or almost.
I usually don't volunteer like all my thoughts and ideas.
This is why I got you on this episode. I got you on the podcast because you're forced. It's like uncomfortable. I know you don't like it.
It's not that it's uncomfortable, but it's just that I'm not one of those people that like blurts out everything that I'm interested in or think about. It has to be drawn out, like you said.
But the world needs to know because maybe your woman, your Mrs. Mark, will be found via if the woman who's meant to be with you finds you through this podcast,
Oh God.
I must be invited to this wedding. Like it needs to happen.
So I'm just gonna state this right off the bat. Is no Mrs. Mark. There will be no wedding. That's
You have
never gonna happen.
famous last
Yeah,
words.
okay.
Anyone who watches this, people of the
Oh
world,
God.
in the
Clip this
near
up.
future,
Clip it up.
now you must find this man, his Mrs. Mark.
Yeah. I would rather do a Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell thing and never ever get married and just be
You're
a
married then,
partnership.
dude. Like
Yeah.
that's the semantics at a certain point. If you've lived monogamously with
Yeah.
someone in the same house for 40 years,
yeah, I
you're
was gonna say.
married. Like
No,
let's call it what it
I
is.
think legally there's a common law.
Yeah, well, in
Yeah.
California, definitely.
And I've actually had this conversation before with someone we know about this. I kind of like joked around about that, but yeah,
Okay.
like physically, definitely like a Serena Williams kind of build, at least
I
body,
like that.
but not top wise. I don't care for the top. But definitely kind of. No, it's just me. I don't.
I know.
care
I'm
for
not.
that.
I mean, I'm not. Dude, is it 100% just you? It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, an
I'm not
athletic,
commenting.
an athletic build, but more voluptuousness to it. Face wise, I love like a big wide smile. I think that's like the to me the a smile is like the most attractive thing on any woman. That's the thing I always gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Like big chunky cheeks and like dimples. Um, I don't know. It's just that
I
just
get what you're saying.
yeah. I love that. I always gravitate towards that.
Nice.
Sh- Short hair for sure. I don't really care for long hair. It's not really my thing. Um,
I don't know about that one.
I know most. I feel like most men actually like longer hair. I don't care for it.
Well, is she a sister? Is she
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. No, and I feel like I think most people who know me know that I don't care for that.
Well, I mean, does she have a fro? Is it like I mean, you know,
No,
yeah,
I
you
don't.
need these details.
No, I don't care for froze either. Like I said, I'd rather it be like short or
Well, you
if,
keep it clean and tight. I get it. You want that in your significant other as well.
no. It's just that I don't to be with a woman who kind of has to maintain the
Yeah.
longer. That's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, someone who honestly, when it comes to dress, I think it's good that a woman knows how to dress, but I'm not gonna get too preoccupied in what she's wearing or if it's too revealing. And that's not something I care about. If the woman is comfortable wearing something that is revealing, or if she doesn't want to reveal anything at all, she's just comfortable in her skin, then I'm all for it.
Mm.
I know there's like this trend in like wearing kind of like baggy stuff, and initially I was thinking, wow, this is kind of weird to see, but now that I've seen it, it's not really that much of a big of a deal. There's always like kind of trends in terms of what men and women wear, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. I've come to accept that. Um, Personality wise, like I said, someone who can hold a conversation, but someone who also has very drastically different interests than I do. Like to have that yin and a yang is to me. It's pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be with a woman who has the same exact interests as me because then it kind of gets stale.
Yeah.
You want to learn from each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
right,
it's
cool.
a lot more fun.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Avery, you give us yours, and then we'll wind it down because we've been going for a while.
I want to hear yours though. Before
Yeah, I
we
know.
finish.
Mine's not that exciting, but yeah, go ahead.
No, you have to say it.
All right, I'll go first, and then you can we'll close with you.
Okay.
I mean, me for looks. I mean, it's nothing that. I mean, I don't find people unattractive. It's like for me, I find
could be
most
anything.
people
Yeah.
attractive. Like
I agree.
just in general, like the idea whenever you hear someone say like someone's ugly, men or women, I'm like, I don't think I've ever met someone who's ugly. Like people are just different looking. There are definitely people who are more appealing to look at. I do like a kind of to your point, Joe. I think you said it really well. a combination of like athleticism and then like a degree of voluptuousness, I think is like ideal. I think if you go too far to either extreme, it's kind of rules it out for me. Like there's a day where I can find like a CrossFit girl attractive, but there can be an extreme of that range where I'm like, it's a little too much there for me. And I like a tough warrior woman. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But we can go too far. And then I'm getting into like the China territory, and that's a little too much.
Oh, my God.
That's a shout out to wrestling. That's for Avery.
Yeah.
So I like that. Like, that's why I like that kind of combination. Like, if I had to pull someone out of like the movies, I'd say like, was it Wonder Woman?
Gal Gadot?
But when she trained for Wonder Woman, she put on weight and became a little bit more. So if you take it a little bit to the extreme of that,
she's pretty hot though, Joe.
I'm not about. I'm pretty down for that.
She is.
But Joe,
all right. What about
and she's
you're pretty much telling me you want a shaved-headed like power lifter. So
don't care.
I'm taking Gal over Jessica Biel. Definitely.
Wow, you're nuts.
Yeah. Oh,
but
easy.
Again, I'm like, I'll be the first to admit, like, if I find someone, if I like them, then they become more and more attractive.
Yes,
which I think it's true of everyone.
Yes,
I have 110% hype, but then I have found all demographics attractive at different points. Right, you meet someone in that, and you're like, whoa. I tend to like exotic, but then again, I meet someone. It doesn't matter, right? Like, you find them interesting, and then all of a sudden, they just become more and more and more attractive. So like to a perfect date or a first date,
like the setting, and
definitely
it doesn't matter.
100% Joe. Like, I'm not we're going to go out. Never, like, dinner, movie, all of these things on the first date. Never have done it.
It's so
I agree.
100% don't like it. I'm 100% with Joe, where I enjoy either meeting at a bar for a drink, like a nice bar, like a lounge, like a place like Art Bar or something like that, where it's you can pick a good night where it's not too loud, you're having a drink, you're talking, or like a cafe or a walk or something along those lines. Something that's going to be focused around conversation. 100%. I don't want to go do something where our attention is on something. That's for like later dates where we know each other. Now we're just going to spend time. Like, we're going to go see a movie that we like and chit chat about it. But like first date, even maybe second date, third date is like, I want to go to a cool, calm place, and I just want to like talk. Cafe, and if we're gonna get food, it's gonna be like we're gonna go to a taco place and like have like tacos and like talk,
and then walk around
and walk around. Yeah. That's to me like New York City.
That's perfect for that.
Like something small. Like that's for me why I think like New York is such a great place, because you can have these like walking dates where it's just like, we're gonna meet in the Village.
And then pop around.
It's a nice day. We're gonna go walk around. Maybe we go to like Washington Square Park, and we're sitting on the bench. Oh, okay. Like, then we're gonna go maybe get a drink over here, or get a coffee over there. Or, hey, you hungry? Let's go get a slice over here.
Exactly.
And it's like you have this nice moving date. It's like you feel like you're doing things, but you're really not doing any things. I feel like New York is such a great. I probably like Paris. Any place that's like a walkable city is just so much. It's so fun, because imagine if you're in the suburbs. We're going to go drive. We're going to go meet at a place. If we want to go somewhere else, we're going to go drive to that place. New York, you could start in, Union Square and end up uptown if you wanted, or end up in Lower East Side if you're having a good date and you're walking. And then it's like kind of cool, because you could be like, all right, let's see how this date goes. And you just know in the back of your head, especially I know Avery, okay, we're going to walk in this direction. If the date's going well, I know that there's like this bar over there. I know there's that spot over there.
You stole my answer.
And it's kind of like, all right, this is like choose your own journey. If she's like, oh, hey, like, I'd like to get drinks. Like, boom, I know we got a spot over there. Oh, you want to get like ice cream? Well, there's a spot right there. I know. And you can just like almost like on the fly create a very fun, like lighthearted experience. Yeah. So that's how I am. Like, anyone I've ever talked to who's like, oh, I'm going to go ask around and we're going to go to this super nice restaurant. I'm like, first date,
that's
why
a
would
bad
you
idea.
ever do that? You don't even know if you like this person.
That's terrible.
Yeah. That's me.
Yeah, no, Chris, you took my answer. Exactly. It would be a multi-layered.
I think I learned that from you, Avery.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
It's a place that's like has a lot of stuff going around. So not like South Brooklyn or something where it's more residential, or like by you, Joe, or like for like Forest Hills, Queens.
Yeah.
or by me in the Bronx where it's just houses, right? Not that. Go to a place where you can pop around, you can do several things. You can, like you said, maybe it's just going to the park and sitting on a bench for a little bit. Then you're like, hey, let's go to this dive bar. Oh, you want to get like a quick snack somewhere? There's a good bakery over here.